there was signs posted, like, if there's any nuclear alarms, or if there was any alarm to go off saying that there's a nuclear bomb coming towards us, head to these shelters. Well, the shelters hasn't been updated since the 50s. So why would people go to these shelters that hasn't been updated?
Most of the shelters wouldn't survive anyway.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what?
So they finally took the signs down.
What are you gonna?
What did they do when we were kids, Gary? We had to hide under a desk as part of a bomb drill.
Yeah, like a nuclear bomb.
Like that was going to save us. I went to school 5 miles from an Air Force base.
Nuclear bomb, you'd be screwed.
Okay, guess what? If it happened, that base was going to be one of the things targeted, and I guarantee you, me hiding under my desk in school wasn't going to help me one damn bit.
When I was
what building would exist? Okay, I mean that
exactly.
I mean, if you watched any of the films of what they did in the testing in Nevada, where they built up little towns and then fired off a nuclear bomb 10 miles away, and watched
look at the real life tests, Hiroshima. Okay, that bomb is nothing compared to the stuff that we've got in the ground right now.
When I was staying at a military school back in 2010, I was there for 6 months. Me and my other cadets, we'd always joke about, like, hey, if we'd ever, like, go into war or something, like a bomb would ever go off, and the kids here that are 17, 18 years old, they'd be probably, drafted, and, they tell us to stay here, but the base is not really an actual base. I mean, it has barbed wire tanks and Humvees, but it doesn't have a shelter.
Well, that's another story. I mean, you look at what I'm really worried of, things like in Japan, all that radiation going into the Pacific Ocean, it's reaching us. The radiation that they're finding in our grass that the cattle eat, even here in Washington and Oregon and Idaho. It's scary. What is that going to do? Not maybe in our generation,
but 2 or 3 generations down
if
the road.
we're still alive. I mean, what's that going to do? You mentioned about hormones in food earlier, right? All the hormones in your milk. Women are growing larger breasts at a younger age.
Well, that's okay with me.
Well, yeah, that's okay. Well, I don't know. But you look at males are actually maturing a lot sooner than me and you did. And that's
physically, but not mentally.
No, I think they're going the opposite way in a lot of cases. But I really think that all that stuff is going to change what humans will be like in 3 generations from now.
Do you think it's because of the food we eat? Like all the...
That's what I just said.
All the food that we eat, because the stuff that they add to it, all the additives.
Exactly. That's what he's saying. When we go out into the field and start giving our cattle hormones,
well, do you think it's
better?
Grow faster.
And antibiotics.
Well, do you think it's better?
And make them grow faster. Guess who's eating that?
Me,
you and
him.
Eating that.
Well,
we're eating that. So eventually, whatever bad's going to come from that is going to eventually, slowly, and it's probably already affecting a lot of us. We just don't know it.
Well, do you think
we don't know what's causing it?
Well, do you think it's better to grow our own food and eat it organically?
Where you gonna...
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know what?
To buy it from the stores. But hold on. But what if you're living in a city or close to a city that's very industrialized? So
that's the problem.
Exactly.
But one thing you're forgetting, Kevin,
so that's
about growing your own,
eating organic.
But organic. Here's the problem with the food supply, the seeds. Okay, 95% of the seeds that you go buy to plant in your garden are been modified.
All of them.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at what was a pea plant 15 years ago was not a pea plant of today. Corn and all that stuff has been changed and altered.
Well, they got to alter it, because the way the weather patterns.
No, they not this that. It was altered to kill off bugs.
They're trying to make it grow faster, grow bigger,
and better,
and get rid of bugs. And
the stuff that made people sick.
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff.
no. I think that type of food is actually making people sick. I think that's why people are getting cancers and stuff like that.
And
I
making
don't
people
think
money, or
I
making
don't
government
think
money.
I don't think spraying a field with insecticides that's growing corn and then washing the corn when it's harvested is going to get rid of the insecticide.
No,
if you spray that on the food as it's growing, it's in the food.
It's in the food. I'm not going to mention the name of the one weed killer, but it's been a lot of talk about causing cancer and stuff, and causing birth defects. And this is the stuff that people were going and buying at their local hardware store, right? And walking around spraying weeds on their property,
You
right?
gotta watch that stuff.
And they're doing it without gloves, without respirators ready. They're breathing the fumes. They're breathing the mist.
Yeah, they get it on their hands wet, with it.
I'm sorry, and for me, you know what a weed killer is?
What?
It's a propane tank with a weed burner on the end of it.
Well, what do you think about like smoking cigarettes and stuff?
Well, smoking cigarettes is horrible.
Well, of course, but like,
Well,
the people that
you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. You smoke cigarettes, right? But that thing you're smoking right now, which is artificial, if you
vaporizer?
actually start reading now what there's any of this stuff comes out, they don't find out what it does bad for about 10, 15 years later.
It takes a while.
It takes a while.
It's going to take at least 100 years.
Of how greed dictates what this country and this world does. Okay, vaping. Okay. Vaping is thousands of times less dangerous for you than smoking. Right off the top of it, you're not breathing in tar. Okay, tar is
poison.
what plugs our lungs up, fills us throat, fills our lungs up, makes it hard to breathe, makes us start coughing up phlegm and all this other crap. Okay, then there's all the carcinogens in the cigarette smoke that cause cancer.
Right.
Okay, so in the vape, we know what's in it. Okay. We know what's in it. We, in the vape industry, I was in the vape industry.
Yeah.
Okay. When you and me first met, I owned a vape shop.
Right.
Okay. And one of the reasons I got out of it was because the industry itself is its own worst enemy, and the government's trying to vilify it so badly.
Oh yeah, they're kind of putting where you can't make money.
Because it kills the tobacco
and it's
company.
not about making money. For me, it was about helping people not smoke. Period.
Yeah.
That was what it was about. But to do that, you have to make a living. You have to feed your family. You have to pay your bills. You have to keep the lights turned on. You have to do these things. So you have to be a smart businessman to make it all pay for itself. Okay. But for me, it was about getting people off of cigarettes. I smoked for 28 years.
Yeah,
I had been diagnosed with COPD.
That's not awesome,
I couldn't walk around the damn block. Okay. Period.
Well, you know what? I hate to say this, and you probably will be mad at me. I think the best thing is not to put anything in your lungs other than what you bleed. Anything you put into your lungs, it's not air. It can't be healthy for it. I mean,
and here's what's really going to blow your mind. If you drive out into the town of Tacoma and you stand at a street corner and you take a sample of the air right there in that street corner, I guarantee you that there's more chemicals and more dangerous stuff in that oxygen than there is in this man-made vape.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. Okay? I have never, ever advocated anybody who doesn't smoke to start vaping, period.
I mean...
Okay? As far as I'm concerned, it was a tool to get off of burning tobacco, okay? Because you burn any product, anything you burn contains carcinogens, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And you inhale those carcinogens, okay? So now the government's trying to vilify vaping and try and make it sound actually worse than cigarettes. Why? Because of the tax revenue they get from cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
And a lot of people, that can't be right. Well, here's the deal, okay? The states made a deal with Big Tobacco, okay? The deal was part of the settlement for all these lawsuits from deaths were these states get a proceed from these tobacco companies based on their sales, okay? So California was a state that was projecting their cigarette sales. Hey, we can cash in all this money now. We can do bonds. We can do bonds based on what the projections of cigarette sales are going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road. We can have the money now.
Yeah.
Along comes vaping.
Hey, Dad, let me ask you.
Cigarette sales start to decline.
Let me ask you a quick question. You remember a couple of years ago, you asked me every time the minimum wage would go up, a pack of cigarettes cost would go up.
Oh yeah.
Why is that? Why is
well,
that?
you know, it's
because the cost
tax.
of the labor just went up.
Yeah, and the tax. I mean, look at the tax. At least in Washington State, it's just like gas.
Let
Okay,
alone.
they put on. They say they're doing it to deter people from smoking.
and to fund all these different places.
Yeah, well, you know why they put the tax on? It's not to cause you or me to cut our smoking down. It's that they're greedy. They want money. They know all these people are hooked on smoking.
like gambling.
That majority of them aren't going to be able to quit smoking. So why not tax the hell out of it? The same way they're doing in Seattle and a lot of places on soda, right? They put a tax on it.
Look at the taxes on alcohol.
Oh yeah, crazy, right?
I haven't put up.
Okay.
I haven't smoked a cigarette in over 3 years. I have.
That's fantastic.
I've gone to vaping though. I've switched to vaping, but I am addicted to vaping now.
That's what the government wants to do on vaping,
I'm
right? They
addicted
want
to
to tax
vaping.
it as bad as cigarettes.
Of course, and that's exactly what they're
trying
to do
to
now.
figure it out.
And this is where I started seeing the light with the industry, because the industry started working with the government. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the state of Washington, we went to the state of Washington and said, "Hey, look, you guys are trying to vilify this. You're trying to make it impossible for us. Let's find a happy medium here." Okay, that's fine. That was good. Okay, but here's the warning to that. Once you make that first agreement and you guys get on the same page, and the next thing they're going to do is they're going to want to come out and tax it. Guess what?
They did.
This year, they want to tax it 60%.
Now, at one point, and this is like 3 years ago, I remember reading it, that the government basically wanted only a few manufacturers to make the stuff, right? And make it almost impossible for the small shop, right, to bring their own.
So that's exactly what they're doing now.
Yeah, you can't make any money. And even when you're buying it from the major companies, which I think were even tied into the tobacco companies.
So there were some tobacco companies, there still are,
yeah.
That jumped on the e-cigarette bandwagon, that helped
I
develop
don't
some
wanna
of the
say
early e-cigarettes. But here's the problem with that. A lot of the stuff that was out there, especially early on, where we found diacetyl and a few other chemicals in the vapor, a lot of that stuff was either from China or from the cigarette manufacturers side of the things.
I do want to say I make my own e-juice. I buy my own ingredients, and I totally support all businesses, but I don't really support businesses that, support gambling. Support gambling habits such as like tobacco industries, cell phone industries, and stuff like that. Places that get you to want you to buy more things, like the next generation phone or the next generation cigarettes.
Okay, but we've gotten off the subject.
Sorry, totally.
It's about health. It's about what we do to ourselves, as a race. So making your own stuff is fine because it's all in the ingredients. Okay, but like I was just saying, we had stuff coming from China that had bad stuff in it. We had stuff that the cigarette industry, tobacco industry, had their hands in. And here's a fact. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I even read where the tobacco companies were putting stuff in it to make it addictive.
That's what I was just going to say. You look at the ingredients in a cigarette, not the carcinogens after you light it, but the ingredients that are allowed to be put into cigarettes to manufacture them. You look at that, and you look at that list, and you explain to me why most of those chemicals are in there.
Yeah, well, there's no reason.
Most of those chemicals are in there to make them money, to make you keep buying cigarettes. And I fought it, and I watched hundreds of people fight this. They weren't fighting the nicotine near as much as they were fighting the chemicals in that cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? The nicotine itself, yes, in large doses, it's deadly. If you take pure nicotine and you put some pure nicotine on your finger and lick it, it will kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You will absorb it in your skin. It'll make you very sick. Okay? So we're not talking nicotine on that level. We're talking nicotine on this level where I vape. is comparable to caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I mean,
the addictiveness.
yeah.
Okay? So they put all these other chemicals in these cigarettes, and we start smoking them,